What's up, guys? Yeah, it's your boy Lunatic Dad here. Yeah, we got our football picks in. Week 1, I was right yesterday. Kansas City did beat Baltimore, but did you see that play at the end of the game, the last and final one? Man, his toes were just out of bounds. Otherwise, they would have went ahead and tried to win it with a two-point conversion. But it didn't happen. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, but the shit didn't happen. Okay, let's get on with this bad self. Remember, this only for recreational purposes only. Dad does play his FanDuel and everything. These are just my picks. First week is always hard, so I'm going off of a lot of what has happened the previous year with these teams and everything else. There are some twists and turns as we go along. So, hey, let's get into it. For tonight, we got the Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Guess what? I'm going with the Eagles. They have the addition of Saquon Barkley. Man, remember, Saquon came over from the New York Giants, came over to the Eagles. I don't think the people in New York are too satisfied or happy with that. He's a beast. Look for him to score a touchdown today. Look for Jalen Hurts to go for at least 250, probably about 75 on the ground and everything else. Listen, AJ, that receiver boy, let me tell you, he's a bad man. He's a bad man. Packers are improved. I'm not going to doubt it because everybody knows Dad's a Bears fan and everything else. But I got to give it to the Packers. Mr. Love. I got no love for him, but he calls himself Love and everything else. Actually, that's his name. But anyway, they, in my eyes, and then they got the addition of Josh Jacobs and everything. But Josh Jacobs, I think last year was his last good year. He's too banged up and everything else. I think they're going to wear down that bell cow. The Packers defense is very good. But in this game, I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles by 3. Next one I got is the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Well, remember, who changed quarterbacks from Minnesota over to Atlanta? Kirk Cousins, right? Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback. I like their receivers. I love their running back in Atlanta. I look for Atlanta to beat Pittsburgh soundly in Atlanta. They're playing in Atlanta. Even if they were in Pittsburgh, it wouldn't matter. Justin Fields and all the other people and everything else that is sitting up in Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. You're going to have a very bad year this year. Even Mike Tomlin's ass is not going to be able to go ahead and create a miracle. So I got Atlanta by 10. Next one I got Arizona Cardinals, Buffalo Bills. Well, you know what? Josh Allen and the boys, yes, they did have a lot of turnover. Remember, they lost Stephon Diggs. They've lost quite a bit of their team due to the salary cap and everything else because Josh Allen does make a little bit too much money and everything else. So that's what happens when you pay the quarterback and everything. Guess what? It's going to affect everything else that you can go ahead and do down yonder. So yeah, we're going with Buffalo. Next one I got, my Chicago Bears versus Tennessee Titans. Well, what the hell? What do you think? The Bears got Keenan Allen. Wasn't that such a doozy, eh? In the draft. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. Gerald Everett, the other tight end that we picked up from the Chargers. Hey, look, I'm telling you, I like Chicago not only because they're my team. I like Chicago only because I think they're a better team than the Tennessee Titans. Remember, Tennessee lost Derrick Henry. Don't forget. And which he didn't do shit yesterday in Baltimore. Just thought I'd let you know if you're a fantasy player. New England Patriots versus Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow's coming back from an injury. It doesn't matter. Joe Burrow and the boys, I looked for them to not just beat New England. I would actually even say they're going to beat New England by at least 21. So I'm going with Cincinnati Bengals to beat the New England Patriots. Next one I got, Houston versus the Indianapolis Colts. Colts are at home, okay? But DJ Stroud, the quarterback for Houston, man, let me tell you, that kid's the real deal. He was so great last year coming out as a rookie and everything else. You got Dell, and like I said, they've got it all. They've got the receivers, they got the running back, they got the quarterback, they got a decent defense. Not as great because their defense does give it up, but I just think that Indy is in for a rude awakening at home. Sorry, Colts fans. Your team's going down. I'm taking Houston. Next one I got is Jacksonville Jaguars versus Miami Dolphins. Well, this is interesting. Trevor Lawrence and the boys and everything else. I mean, they were disappointing towards the end of the year last year, right, people? They were very, no one can ever argue with me on that because they blew it. They had that whole division locked up and everything else. Then they just started losing. Uh, Trevor Lawrence was, like I said, he did sustain injury and he tried to work through it and everything else. But I am looking for Miami at home to win. I mean, Tua, he's not all that in a bag of chips. Everybody, he got paid, got his money and everything else. But I'm sorry, Tua, I'm picking you. But once you play a high octane team, like say if you ever play Kansas City, which I haven't checked the schedule yet, but I think that it's just not happening. But I'm gonna go with Miami for this week. Carolina Panthers versus New Orleans Saints. This is a divisional game. Divisional games are usually a lot tighter. They're a lot stronger and everything else. Usually you would say, oh, it's just going to be a blowout against with Carolina and everything else. But division games, the teams know each other. The coaching staff knows each other. They know each other's tendencies and everything else. No Michael Thomas for New Orleans Saints, but it ain't going to matter. We got Alvin Kamara and everything else. I still believe that the New Orleans Saints will win by at least a touchdown. Next one, I got Minnesota Vikings versus New York Giants. They ain't so giant anymore. I'm sorry. I know it kills me to say this. It really does. I'm not kidding you guys. This shit kills me. But, yes, I am going Minnesota Vikings to beat the New York Giants. Enough said. I don't even want to get into that game because Minnesota's in the Bears division. Yeah, I'm a little bit biased. Shit happens. Deal with it. Next one I got is the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going to go with Herbo. Yes, I'm going to go with Herbo. Even though they did lose a lot. Don't forget, Keenan Allen is with the Bears now, and he came from the Chargers and everything else. But I still think with Jim Harbaugh, the coach that came from Michigan out of college, and he came over to the Chargers and everything. I think he's a very good coach. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. They got a stout defense with Khalil Mack and everything else. And their secondaries, it's a little bit iffy. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the Chargers over Vegas. Next one I got is Denver Broncos versus Seattle. Seattle all day, 12th man and everything else. I think Denver is for a rude awakening. They got their rookie quarterback starting. I think he was like the 16th or 17th pick or whatever in the first round. I'm not too well versed on this kid yet, but as the season goes on and everything else, Dad does a little bit more so I can see what I'm seeing and to give you a little bit more accurate. But I will go ahead and take Seattle because the 12th man they call it, by the way. People are probably like, what's the 12th man? Figure it out if you get to this part of the video. And next one I got, Dallas Cowboys versus Cleveland Browns. Now, Cleveland's got a stout defense. Dallas, they look very shaky in the preseason. But they didn't really play none of their starters. Okay? They did not play any of their starters. They had a holdout and everything, but he's back. But I'm going to go with Dallas over Cleveland. That one could go either way, guys. Don't take Dad for his word on that one because that one's a little bit shaky, Dallas and Cleveland. Cleveland is at home, but I think Dallas might have enough power to be able to get through to them. Washington. I will always call them Washington Redskins. I don't care what they say. And whatever the case may be, they'll always be Washington Redskins versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, we got to go with Tampa Bay, don't we? I don't think Washington's ready to compete yet and everything else. Yeah, they made a lot of nice changes in the offseason, went and invested some money and everything else. But I think Tampa at home gets the job done over the Washington Redskins. Los Angeles Rams versus Detroit Lions. This is another game. Even though Detroit's at home, the Rams improved with Puka and the boys and Stafford and everything else. They did. And they got a running game. But I just don't see it. I think Detroit is just too much on defense. Remember, they were only one play away from going to the Super Bowl last year. If Dan Campbell, their damn coach, was smart and everything else, he wasn't the smartest tree on the leaf. But, hey, Lion fans, I feel your pain. So I can't even put you guys down, even though I want to. But when we get your ass, we're going to beat you. Well, anyway, we ain't talking about that, damn Dad. We're going to go with the Detroit Lions over the Los Angeles Rams. Next one I got is the New York Jets versus San Francisco 49ers. Yes, the return of Aaron Rodgers from his Achilles tear. All right, Rodgers is back. Yes, they got a lot of weapons and everything else. But with Brees Hall and the boys, and but I will say this: San Francisco is, like I said, I mean, with Brock Purdy, Debo Samuel, I mean, you name it. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, he may watch out for fantasy guys. If you got Christian McCaffrey, he is still not cleared 100%. But if he does play and everything else, Christian McCaffrey does Christian McCaffrey things. So I'm going to go with San Francisco on that one. So let's do the recap. We had Kansas City, bingo. We got Philadelphia, and then we got Atlanta, Buffalo, Chicago, Cincinnati Bengals, Houston. We got Miami Dolphins, New Orleans Saints, Minnesota Vikings. Then we got the LA Chargers, Seattle. Then we got Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Detroit Lions. And to finish off this week is the San Francisco 49ers. Guys, thank you very much. Hopefully that you guys check out my picks and everything else. Hopefully that you enjoyed and everything. Guys, you guys keep it real. Keep it lunatic. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that sub button and everything else. Crush up on Dad. Give him some love for my football. Thank you very much, guys. You guys have a blessed day. Laters.